Stay tuned for the Splash Live. It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm Tyler Kieft, alongside Kevin McIntosh. Kevin, happy to be with you as always.
How you doing, Tyler? Great day to be here. Another opportunity. Happy to be here, man. Just wish the sun was out shining right now, man. We definitely are getting the spring weather right now.
Hey, you know what? You always get that back and forth here in the greater West Bloomfield area at this time of the year. But with all that sunshine we've had all throughout the week, hopefully plenty more of that over a beautiful weekend. And we'll get people outside and out and about in our community, including out on that beautiful West Bloomfield Trail. Getting busier, Kevin. I've seen a lot of people out there very lately. But throughout all of our lives, during the week, Monday through Friday, sometimes some of us Monday through Sunday even, there's a lot of hustle in our daily lives. And sometimes we just need places to go that are peaceful, where we can get some peace and quiet and take a break. The West Bloomfield Township Public Library is here to help, and our reporter Jake Schaff has the story.
We've all had those days where all you want to do is relax, unwind, and shut out the world for a little bit. And for when that happens, the West Bloomfield Township Public Library has got you covered with their new Reflection Room, a quiet space designed to provide a little more privacy and tranquility from the hustle and bustle of daily life. I spoke with Assistant Library Director Jeff Crocker to find out more about this peaceful addition to the building.
Well, it came as a result of thinking about patrons' needs and things they've been asking for the last several years. And we kind of rethought the use of our spaces during COVID.
So what makes this room different than a traditional study room?
The thing that's different about it is there aren't study tables and carrels. It's not for intense study. It's for kind of individual study and contemplation. It's for people who want a quiet library experience, but not necessarily in the study room. Maybe they just want to sit and read in a room where nobody can talk. It's a place for people to go off and have a view of nature while they do their reading. I see people taking their study breaks in there. That was kind of one of the main reasons we wanted to do that space in a cozier manner. There are a lot of people over the years who have been in here looking for places to pray during their study breaks. They've been out in the nonfiction stacks, which is like a tripping hazard. They've been in our cart corral, which is kind of a high traffic area for staff. So there was no real good place. And we also didn't have a place that was sensory friendly. That's something we're going to continue working on more on the youth side in the future. But this was kind of our first foray into that. And then also, we don't have a great place for mothers to nurse here. People have often asked, and really it's kind of nurse in public or find a corner or use the bathroom or leave. And so this was something we hoped would be like kind of an interim solution to that issue.
Are you currently implementing other things to help people who come to the library?
Some work that's being done right now that we hope will be done very soon is the former computer lab, which we're going to call the Community Commons. And that's kind of a flexible use space. So we'll still do computer instruction in that room, but we'll also use it for like craft projects, tech projects, book discussions, and things like that. Some of the equipment started to come in, which is pretty exciting. We've got a laser cutter in there and a couple 3D printers. So hopefully that's something we look forward to opening in the next couple months.
The perfect place for reading, studying, and most importantly, relaxing. The West Bloomfield Township Public Library's Reflection Room is open and available for whatever you need to make you feel just a little more like yourself. For Civic Center TV, I'm Jake Schaff.
Always nice to have a place you can go that's quiet and relaxing. Even within our library, Kevin, a place that is very typically going to be a quiet, relaxing environment. Some people need that extra space to just take the calm out of it, enjoy a nice, peaceful room. And look, we saw those images there, and you can see those on civiccentertv.com if you're listening on the radio at the time. A very peaceful area, it looks like, at the main library.
I'm glad he actually separated or made the difference between the traditional library area and that specific room, that relaxation room. Basically highlighting the fact there are no desks or tables there for you to do traditional studying. That's where you would usually go get your study breaks, do prayer, nursing, things of that nature, meditation. I saw some of the comfortable seats that they had on the floor. So that was something I would definitely look forward to utilizing there in a library. Another great resource from our local library, by the way.
Yeah, and Kevin, it is National Library Week. The West Bloomfield Township Public Library is celebrating that occasion, running now through Saturday. And what they're doing, if you haven't checked out their social media lately, go on over to facebook.com/WestBloomLIB, where they are posting stories about a number of their different staff members all throughout the week. We'll go through a few of them, Calvin. Currently, we're on Eric Schoenbachler, who is the Public Services Manager at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. Kevin, according to their post from their Facebook page, he originally planned to go into hotel services, and then as he was pursuing that career path, he ended up having a job in a library, fell in love with it, and couldn't get away from it at that point. He talks about his public services management job at the main library in this Facebook post, saying his day job doesn't necessarily get him the quote-unquote typical librarian's work, but he still makes plenty of memories, including his favorite memory at the hospital, which was when they celebrated their 20th anniversary of their sister library out of Awaji City in Japan. A really cool story from Eric over at the library. Kevin,
Nice.
also another person that's a familiar face to us, Emily Tobin, also celebrated their community engagement librarian. The thing she enjoys the most, and probably a good thing considering she's the community engagement librarian, is the friendliness that goes into library work. She said, she told the library, quote, "I meet so many people that I have made a connection with or that I'm able to help. That is really the best of what a public library has to offer." And Kevin, you've worked in a library before, so you've kind of seen this from a couple of different angles of the work that goes into making the library functional and just how impactful it can be on an individual and on a community.
It's an entire system. It's a whole ecosystem. It's a bunch of moving parts to it. And, like I said, I appreciate the art and science of librarians and the system that they create. So once again, I cherish libraries because of the knowledge, the resources. They talked about having a 3D printer at the West Bloomfield Township Library. I'm already hooked and want to try that out. And that's all the type of things that you'll get from your local library. So National Libraries Week, a great time to celebrate and highlight a place that has been giving us almost free resources for a very, very long time.
Yeah, and it's open again. We mentioned this earlier on this week. It's open to residents of all 4 of our communities, all of whom are served by the West Bloomfield Township Public Library's main branch and West Acres branch. Those library cards available West Bloomfield Township, Keego Harbor, Orchard Lake Village, and Sylvan Lake, and any students in the West Bloomfield School District, whether you live in the 4 communities or you are in a school of choice family. Those resources, library card, that access is always available to each and every one of you. You can learn more about everything going on at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, including, as Kevin, you had mentioned, some of those renovations Jake talked about in a story at WBLIB.org. It's also one of their brand new website. So easy to navigate, so many resources you can find there for free as well. And keep up to date with all their programs as well on Facebook at West Bloom LIB. Kevin, there's so much going on throughout our community. We're going to get to a lot of that on today's edition of the program. We'll talk a little bit about some upcoming fundraising activities and charitable works coming up with West Bloomfield Parks and some of their community partners, some summer camp activities to keep the Kids Engage, and we'll check in with West Bloomfield Township Clerk Debbie Binder later on in the program. Live, local, social. It's a Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Packed show ahead. We'll get back to you in just a couple minutes.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live. Want to enjoy Civic Center TV on your social media? Follow us on Twitter at Civic Center TV. Get notified when we upload one of our interviews, full episodes, and more. Thank you for watching and listening to Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
Good nutrition can help make sure you have enough iron, calcium, and vitamin C in your body, which can make it harder for lead to enter your bloodstream. Help protect your family from the harmful effects of lead.
Live, local, and social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Join our team as we highlight people and events that are making an impact in the greater West Bloomfield area. Catch us live Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Watch us on demand at civiccentertv.com. Or watch us on TV at Comcast Channel 15 or AT&T at Channel 99. Bringing you stories and memories from Orchard Lake, Civic Center TV, and 89.3 Lakes FM. And now, back to the Splash, live.
Live, local, social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM alongside Kevin McIntosh. I'm Tyler Keefe. Thank you for being with us and as always joining us on civiccentertv.com and subscribing to our YouTube page at Civic Center TV, as well as following us along on Facebook for all of our updates and seeing our segments as well. Facebook.com/civiccentertv 15. And Kevin, we like to highlight all areas of our community, including our public service and emergency services workers. They are heroes that are trained to do heroic things in their day job, and sometimes that can even reflect into their off-duty hours as well.
Tyler, we heard of a story of a local officer in Kego Harbor specifically, off-duty. If you want to even say off-duty nowadays, still had to kick in his abilities and his knowledge to save a woman's life while he was out enjoying dinner with his wife. As a matter of fact, join us to talk about that story from his perspective, Officer Robert Alonzi from Kego Harbor Police Department. Can you just take us through this story from your perspective and tell us how you sprung into action, sir?
Well, my wife had been bugging me to go out to eat that night, so it was our one night to relax. And a friend of mine, Byron Turnquist, he's the fire marshal. He and I went out with him and his wife. And we had just sat down and some lady yelled out that this woman was choking to death and asked if anybody knew CPR. And when we got there, she had already started turning blue. And unfortunately, her grandchildren and her whole family were there to watch this. So she started passing out once we did the Heimlich maneuver. We brought her down and cleared the obstruction out of her airway, and then we did CPR and got her back to breathing again.
Oh my goodness, man, that's hard to listen to, let alone even be there and be a part of. You just describing the scene, talking about you were there with your wife and Fire Marshal Turnquist also, and just enjoying a day off. And then you go into a situation with a woman choking while she's with her family. A completely scary situation, something that you would probably only hear of in the movies with the fact you saved her life. What was going through your head that entire time? Were you scared at all?
No, not at all. I've done the job for 33 years, and there's not really a lot to face. I mean, interesting part was when I was 16 years old, my grandmother passed away in the same manner in front of me, and I really didn't know what to do. So it was kind of beneficial to me to be able to make sure that the kids didn't go through that experience.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That is a hard thing to deal with. And I'm willing to bet that probably did go into your mindset in saving that woman's life, having to deal with that situation with a family member of your own. So
but the
my
coolest part
condolences for your loss also.
Thank you. like I said, the coolest part about the whole thing, really, like, she looked up at me and said, "Today was my 50th wedding anniversary." So I just said, "Happy anniversary." So that's what they're out celebrating.
That's such a beautiful thing, man. I mean, the theme of this segment right here, not all heroes wear capes. We hear that a lot, but and like we said, you're an officer for Keego Harbor Police Department, so it's literally your job to save lives and be in the community and things of that nature. But this was one of those situations where, like you said, you were off duty, enjoying time with your wife. Can you just talk about, as an officer, how, and I don't even know how to say this, but basically you're never off duty in a way. You always kind of have to pay attention to what's going on around you. Can you speak to that, please?
Oh yeah, it tends to drive my wife crazy. She never truly
Mhm.
understands that she's a kindergarten teacher. So we have two opposite ends of the spectrum. But essentially, when she understands, I never sit with my back to the door. I'm always looking. Um, I've pulled over and helped people even off duty when they're broken down and so forth.
Mhm.
I just, I would like to think that everybody would do that, and maybe the world would probably be a little bit better place if they did.
Yeah, yeah, no, 100%. And it's great that there's so many different things that go into this, because it's also learning the Heimlich maneuver and CPR. Because
Yes.
it's one thing to be present, it's another thing to be present and know what to do. So,
Mhm.
if I'm not mistaken, this is also, is it part of your training as an officer to learn the Heimlich maneuver as well as how to perform CPR?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Every year we have to go through updated training in first aid, CPR, first responder. In the event of, God help it, if we ever have like a school shooting or something of that nature,
Hmm.
we're trained to go in if we are there first and administer first aid once we call the threat.
Yeah, and that's the type of stuff that usually, like when your job gives you training or something like that. Look, you're like, okay, I got to take this required training. You don't think too much about it. You just take this
Right.
training, and then when a situation happens where you have to use that, you're like, thank goodness I actually learned that. Thank
Yeah,
goodness,
I know.
something like that.
Exactly. You sit there and go, God, do I have to take this again? But then it works.
Right, continued education. I get it. I know all about it. So you were recognized for your beautiful
Yes, sir.
performance. And real quick, just to reset the show, join us right now, Keego Harbor Police Department Officer Robert Alonzi. Join us talking about him saving a woman's life in a restaurant recently and being acknowledged for that. You received the certificate of excellence as well as a pin, a service pin.
Yes.
Also, can you just talk about how you feel about people giving you recognition and awards after doing something like this?
I hate to sound strange. I don't really like it. My wife knows I don't even like having my
Hmm.
picture taken. I don't do it for accolades. It made me feel good that her grandkids didn't have to see that day.
Yeah, yeah, it's it's unfortunate that was a situation that had to happen, but I completely understand. That's why I asked you that question. How do you feel? Because like I said, it's part of your job. It's like being applauded, which you should be applauded for your work every day, but it's like literally being applauded every day
Yeah,
for
we don't
doing
always
your
hear it,
duties
but
as
thank
a
you.
as a sworn in police officer. Just real quick, looking back and reflecting on that, which I would think I know the answer to this. Is there anything that you would have done differently or reacted differently in that situation whatsoever?
Not at all.
Okay, good.
So,
Good information to know. Any other information that you want to tell the community? Any updates in regards to Keego Harbor Police Department, CPR, the Heimlich maneuver, any important information the community should know?
just, it would be beneficial if people did take this training. Even you don't have to be a first responder for it to be beneficial. It might be your husband, wife,
Hmm.
mother, child. You should have some modicum of training to be able to handle the situation. And I think it could benefit anyone in any situation.
I 100% agree. Something like that, you might think it's just minor. You may think it may never even be a situation that you may need it, but it's good information to know and have anyway. Keego Harbor Police Department Officer Rob Alonzi joining us, talking about him saving a woman's life recently at a restaurant. Thank you again for your time, officer.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good day.
Keego Harbor Police Officer Robert Alon explaining his perspective on saving a woman's life while he was off duty. And just imagine a situation where you're just casually enjoying dinner, out to eat with your family or your loved one, then all of a sudden someone near you is choking. Like, this is why we all should know CPR and the Heimlich maneuver, just in case of situations like this. It may be scary, but he saved that woman's life just by knowing that and being there, Tyler.
Yeah, and that's part of the very basic training that our police officers, that our firefighters, certainly our EMS professionals all go through. But it's training that's also available to us through organizations like the American Red Cross, or even our local police and fire departments may have some resources too. So you can get in contact with them, of course, through their non-emergency numbers, and find more information and resources on how you can learn CPR, how you can learn how to use an AED, so that when situations like this do arise, you can be sort of that initial responder when the first responders are on their way and potentially save some lives. And Kevin, there are a number of different ways to be heroic, like Officer Alonzi and like Fire Marshal Turnquist in our community. It doesn't necessarily mean you got to spring into action and save somebody's life in a particular moment. You can take smaller steps too by making donations and participating with nonprofit organizations to help people in need right here in Greater West Bloomfield.
And we have a perfect example of that, Tyler. I'm glad you brought it up, because there are a few organizations who teamed up, partnered up to actually help the community and those in need, specifically in the Greater West Bloomfield area. West Bloomfield Parks teamed up with Hospitality House for a food drive. And here to talk about that a little bit more from their perspective, representing West Bloomfield Park and a member of Hospitality House, we're joined by Megan Tahako. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So we have this event going on. Essentially, it's not like a one-day event. It is a food drive where we are collecting food donations in different locations across the area. Can you explain this a little bit more from your perspective, please?
Sure. So the food drive runs from April 15th through the 26th, and there's 4 locations within the township that people can drop off donated goods. Thank you for pulling up the list of items that they're suggesting would be good donations. It's always great to have a little help when you're trying to figure out what to donate. I have served on the board for Hospitality House for the past 2 years, and I also am the marketing manager here at West Bloomfield Park. So this has been really cool to have my 2 favorite organizations combined. I believe the food drive was actually set up by the West Bloomfield Police Department and the Police Foundation, and they're working with Vibe Credit Union to host the drive. So it really is a great example of community coming together, working with different organizations to help those in the community that truly need it.
That is great information. It's always good to hear that things like this are going on, because there's always people in need, people that we can help, within our communities, our next door neighbors, within our backyard, and things of that nature. From your perspective, how do you envision the community participating and engaging and contributing to this food drive?
Yeah, I think it's kind of twofold. So, of course, if you can donate any items, especially the ones listed on the flyer there, would just be absolutely amazing. But also just awareness, right? So just letting people know that there is a food pantry. It's located in Commerce Township. Excuse me. So just letting people know that if they do have a need, there is a resource right in our backyard that wants to help. And food insecurity, it unfortunately is an issue that is just continuing to rise. So last year, for example, Hospitality House nearly doubled the amount of people that they were helping. So it's great that they were able to meet the need, but unfortunately, we would obviously hope that the need wouldn't be rising. They gave out over 1 million pounds of food last year. So it really is an organization that is very lean, but they're doing a lot of work. So I think we've all felt it when we're out at the grocery store. Prices have just continued to rise. And some people, unfortunately, just are not able to absorb those costs. So I'm really hoping the community can step up and really support those around us that need it.
See, and you brought it up, Megan. I'm glad you did, because I was just at the grocery store. I think I spent like $75. I walked back with like 3 bags of groceries. I said, how did I just spend $75? I used to have like hands full coming out of the grocery store spending $75. But it's great that we have organizations like this reacting to the inflation of groceries and food and things of that nature. Right now, joining us, representing West Bloomfield Parks and a member of Hospitality House, Megan Tahako, joining us talking about their food drive in partnership with West Bloomfield Parks Hospitality House Vibe Credit Union, and beginning April 15th through the 26th with various locations collecting these items. So Megan, you kind of spoke about it a little bit just previously, but my perspective is this type of event and drive hits different because it's not like those national organizations, those national things where they're like, okay, donate money, and you donate and you never know where it's going. You never see the effects of what's going on. With it being a local organization and us serving an actual need within the community, can you just talk about the impact of actually the donations that these individuals and families receive in need? Can you just talk about like you seeing it firsthand when you actually give it to them, or they come and pick it up in that nature?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the really cool things about Hospitality House is that it's a pantry of choice. So what that means is that clients are able to come in and they shop just like they're at a regular grocery store. Some food pantries, they might just hand somebody a box of food and kind of hope that their family likes the food that's included in the box. So that power of choice really does give so much to our clients. And the cool thing about a food drive is that with people donating different items, it allows for even more variety to be in the pantry because, you know, typically the foods and items that they're getting, there's certain brands, certain types, but these food drives really help increase the variety. So that's just another added perk that we can offer clients. I did also want to mention that Hospitality House does provide food for Temple Colomie, which is right down the road here. So even though they're located in Commerce, they are certainly supporting the West Bloomfield community.
Great information to know. Thank you for sharing that with us also. Can you once again reiterate the locations that are accepting donations? And you said you're head of marketing too when it comes to West Bloomfield Park. Can you just talk about how you are promoting it yourself outside of just right here on Civic Center TV also?
Sure. So there's 4 different locations for the food drive. The Recreation Activity Center, which we are located in the Civic Center complex here. Also Town Hall, that's a second location. Our Connect Senior Center, which is located on 14 Mile Road over by Bushes. That's another location. And then Vibe Credit Union, their West Bloomfield location as well. So they're kind of spread out throughout the township, which hopefully will make it easy to drop off those donations. And as far as spreading the word, just please talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends, your family, anything you can do to help spread awareness about the amazing work that Hospitality House is doing, but also any way that, you know, the community can support. There's lots of different ways, whether it's volunteering, hosting a food drive, donating, whether it's cash or whatever. There's also a golf outing coming up this summer, which is one of 2 main fundraisers for the organization. So all the golfers out there, if you could mark July 29th on your calendar, we'd love to have you come out and support that event.
Absolutely. Last thing I'm just curious about, from your perspective personally, how would you assess the success of this food drive? What will make you consider it successful?
I would say, of course, lots of food. Cars full of food would be amazing and wonderful. But I just have, even since we've announced the food drive, I've had a lot of people just talking about Hospitality House more. And since being on the board for 2 years, that definitely has increased. I think awareness in the community is really growing, which is great because that just hopefully will in turn provide more support. So I think if we can, of course, fill several cars full of food, that would be an amazing success. But also the more people that are familiar with this pantry and the work that they're doing in the community.
Thank you so much. Makes sense. And yeah, ultimately, we just want the help of the community to come out, donate the items that you may or may not have in need, but whatever you are willing to give to those in need, and just make sure you tell other people that those resources are available. Once again, from West Bloomfield Parks, as well as a member of Hospitality House, Megan Tahako telling us about the upcoming food drive and their partnership with Five Credit Union, West Bloomfield Parks, as well as a Hospitality House. Thank you again for your time, Megan.
Thanks so much, Kevin.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're doing our duty here, Tyler, telling everybody about the different things that are accessible and ready and available for those in need. And even if you don't need it personally, like we say, just tell a friend to tell a friend. It's a community thing, so just let other people know.
Yeah, it's a great way to help people out in our local area also, Kevin, not only in the greater West Bloomfield
Precisely.
communities, but Hospitality House being helpful all throughout our local area as well. And so that fundraiser, again, begins on April 15th. It will begin on Monday of this upcoming week and will run through, I believe, the 26th through Hospitality House and West Bloomfield Parks. Plenty more information on that fundraiser can be found on wbparks.org or join them on their Facebook page as well, facebook.com/wbparks. Across Oakland County and throughout southeastern Michigan, United Way for Southeastern Michigan and the Balmer Group Philanthropy Organization are proud to announce open enrollment for the Summer Discovery Camps program, providing learning programs to over 22,000 K-8 students across 100 sites throughout southeastern Michigan. Joining us on the program to talk about these learning programs throughout the summer and their availability here in Oakland County is Ellen Gilchrist, Senior Director of Early Childhood and Education with the United Way for Southeastern Michigan. Ellen, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me. How are you this morning?
I am doing fantastic, and I'm glad to talk to you about this program because it's going to be fantastic also for our kids throughout Oakland County and surrounding areas, too. There are locations all throughout Oakland County, including nearby to us in Pontiac and in Southfield and Hazel Park for county kids to go to for these learning opportunities. Just take us through initially what the Summer Discovery Program offers to K-8 students in Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb counties.
Absolutely. Summer Discovery offers no-cost programming to students who are in grades kindergarten through 8th grade currently for 5 weeks over the summer. And this means you can sign up, and for no cost to you or your family, you can participate in a full day, 8-hour program at one of the 100 locations across the Tri-County area where programs are being offered.
And this addresses a really important issue, Ellen, because when kids go off for the summer, some of them will go into summer school in their local district or will spend time with a tutor or will have other learning and educational engagement programs like a summer camp that they can go into. But for the rest of the kids, they may not have something to do throughout the summer and experience what's known in the education space as summer slide much more aggressively. And so how does Summer Discovery, how does this program help to address the quality of out-of-school time for families and also for local school districts?
So Summer Discovery is a full-day program, and it's helping families and students by providing them with an academic component to that day where they will have 3 hours of math and English language arts to help reduce that summer slide, and they will have an enrichment program, and that enrichment program is designed with student opinions in mind. We're asking schools and site providers to say, ask your students, what do they want to see? Incorporate that into the program to make it an exciting place for students to spend their summers. It's helping school districts by alleviating the burden of the cost of operating these programs, allowing them to use these funds to cover all the expenses affiliated with offering them. And it's helping families by ensuring they have a full day program so that you can drop your student off, know they have a safe place to be all day, and pick them up at the end of the workday.
And being that you work particularly in early childhood education and these programs through United Way for Southeastern Michigan, education is not just about what you learn in the classroom, what you're learning from textbooks or what you're learning from reading or other activities. It's also a lot of that social emotional learning, that interactivity with other kids of your age and peers in your age group and demographic. So what impact can a program like Summer Discovery have on kids over the summer in their development during their K through 8 years by participating in a program like this?
Summer Discovery, by its name, is helping kids to learn and explore. And with that, you pick up things like stick to itiveness. You learn how to be curious. You learn how to make mistakes and recover from those. By having these strong enrichment components, we're helping students develop those soft skills like collaboration and communication that we know are essential in their school day, in their social experiences, and in their life after their K 12 experience.
Over 22,000 seats are available for this program for kids across 100 and more locations in Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb counties. You can learn more information on the Summer Discovery program by visiting summerdiscoverymi.org or UnitedWaySEM.org for more information and resources from the United Way for Southeastern Michigan. Joining us on the program is Ellen Gilchrist, who is with the United Way for Southeastern Michigan, their Senior Director of Early Childhood and Education, as we talk about the Summer Discovery program. And this is not just through the United Way for Southeastern Michigan or Summer Discovery as a one-to-one partnership. It's a partnership between a number of different collaborating organizations that have made this possible, like you said, for free for kids across the Tri-County area.
We've come together recognizing there's a need, and this is what's in the best interest of our youth and our community. And it's an example of what happens when community comes together. We've taken philanthropic dollars, we've taken the organizing power of United Way, and we've worked alongside our community organizations who offer out of school time programming and our school districts to design and implement a program that meets the needs of students and families. We're looking forward to seeing the impact of it.
Yeah, and it's quite significant too. 22,000 available seats across 100 plus locations. I mean, that's pretty unprecedented, even for as large of a population as we have between Oakland, Macomb, and Wayne counties.
It is. This is an unprecedented investment. We're looking at over $47 million going into community to support this initiative. We're looking at serving, as you said, up to 22,000 students this summer and growing in future years. And we're serving over 100 sites to make sure that it is convenient and accessible to people across all of Southeastern Michigan.
How's the United Way getting involved in that? Because Summer Discovery is ran sort of independently with those partnerships in tow. And what role does the United Way for Southeastern Michigan play in A, providing these programs, and B, bridging those gaps throughout the year, not just in the summer?
Our work at United Way is about supporting everybody across our community, particularly when we look at Alice households. And we know that when you are living in an Alice community, you have additional needs. And so at United Way, we see this as an opportunity to support Alice families when we are thinking about the cost of childcare, when we're thinking about the ability to be able to work. We know that when our children have safe places to go, when they have food, when they are learning, they are more likely to be able to thrive as adults. And so we've stepped into this role in supporting after school and out of school time programming because we realize that it is essential to stabilizing households and supporting thriving children across our communities.
Ellen Gilchrist is with us, the Senior Director of Early Childhood and Education with the United Way for Southeastern Michigan, as we talk about the Summer Discovery program, which is available for free to over 22,000 students across Oakland, Wayne, and Macomb County here in Southeastern Michigan. And you can find more information as well as enroll right now, summerdiscoverymi.org, for plenty of more information. Ellen, I'm sure families are really interested in this, especially if they're looking for some learning activities for their kids over the summer. So if they do enroll, if they do end up in one of these programs and at one of the many sites throughout our local area in Oakland County, what sort of learning activities are expected or are being offered at many of these locations?
This is the fun part of the program. So in addition to the academic learning that's happening across the applications, we have seen offerings such as squash for kids, robotics, coding, drone flying, figure skating, arts, theater, field trips to the zoo, to the science center, to the beach, outdoor science learning. Really, there's a program for everybody to find your interest. So we encourage everybody to go to summerdiscoverymi.org, look across the programs, see what these sites are offering, and find something that meets your interests and needs.
And then in terms of school participation for hosting the programs or for helping to assist with some of these programs, how is that determined? And then how can families go about enrolling their children if they're interested?
So you will enroll directly with the site provider. The list of all of the sites can be found at summerdiscoverymi.org. School districts are taking students that are already enrolled in those districts. But in addition to the school-based sites, we have many community-based organizations that are also offering programs. And those sites are open to any student who is attending school in Oakland, Wayne, or Macomb County. Those are also listed on summerdiscoverymi.org, and you can use a filter on the map to find those sites if you do not see your school district listed.
More information can be found on unitedwaysem.org, or you can go directly to the website for the Summer Discovery Program. That is summerdiscoverymi.org, summerdiscoverymi.org. Ellen Gilchrist is joining us from the United Way for Southeastern Michigan as we talk about this program. Over 100 sites across the Tri-County area, including some here in Oakland County nearby in Pontiac at the Walton Charter Academy and at the Center for Success Network, as well as at Southfield A&T, Southfield High School for the Arts and Technology, and a couple locations in Hazel Park and other areas throughout Oakland County. Again, you can find all of those sites and enroll now by visiting the Summer Discovery website, summerdiscoverymi.org, or visit the United Way's website for even more information. Ellen, before we let you go, anything else that we should know about the Summer Discovery Program or that would be important for parents to consider as they're looking for some summer activities for their kids?
So we are encouraging everybody to begin signing up now. So sign up as soon as possible and know that it is a 5-week commitment when you sign up. So we are looking to ensure that students have an extended summer experience, and that is an important part of the program. It will be fun, it will be exciting, and sign up is open now.
More information, summerdiscoverymi.org. Ellen, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. You can find even more programs and information on resources provided by the United Way for Southeastern Michigan by visiting their website at unitedwaysem.org. And these are programs that are really important for our kids as they head into the summer season, as you're looking for something for them to do. And again, it's available for kids in kindergarten through 8th grade, which is another key factor in this, because those are kids that they're not quite working age just yet. They're not quite internship age just yet. They got to find some ways to continue to build their social interactions, to keep their learning going over the summer. And what better way to do that than by providing them with some fun activities and ways to interact with kids from their local hometowns and throughout the local area. Live, local, social, it's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Plenty more to get to. We'll take a short break and we'll be right back.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live. Bringing you stories and memories from West Bloomfield. Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
1 in 4 Michigan homes has high levels of radon, a naturally occurring radioactive gas known to cause lung cancer. It doesn't matter where you live or what type of home you have. You won't even know it's there unless you test. So don't wait. Testing is cheap and easy, and if there's a problem, it's simple to fix. Visit michigan.gov/radon to learn more.
We took action. Will you?
Want to enjoy Civic Center TV on your social media? Find us on Instagram at Civic Center TV. Get notified when we upload one of our interviews, full episodes, and more. Thank you for watching and listening to Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. And now, back to The Splash, live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm Tyler Keefe alongside Kevin McIntosh. Thank you so much for being with us, and as always, keeping up to date with our programming on CivicCenterTV.com, on Facebook at Civic Center TV 15, and YouTube at Civic Center TV. There's so much going on throughout our local area here in the greater West Bloomfield community. It's been a busy few weeks, and it's going to be a busy few months coming up as well, as we have many elections on the docket between now and the big presidential election coming up in November. It's a perfect time to check in with West Bloomfield Township Clerk Debbie Binder for all the information we need to know and talk about some fun things happening in our community as well. Clerk, thank you so much for being with us.
Good morning, Tyler. Good morning, Kevin.
Yeah, happy day to you as well. We're glad to have you on the program. You're coming to us from a special location at the L. Brooks Patterson building, which is the Oakland County main office, getting together with many clerks from our local area for some training as you anticipate the election season. So let's begin with that, Debbie, because this is some really important stuff that clerks are doing, training together, getting familiar with what we all need to know as we get into election season. So talk about that collaboration and how it helps local clerks' offices get themselves better prepared for the work they're doing all throughout the year.
Well, there's no question that collegiality is where it's at, especially in election land right now and with all the changes. So Oakland County has, I think it's 63 jurisdictions within it and a lot of clerks. So as the recent, president of the Oakland County Clerks Association, which I am no longer in that role, but I was for 4 years on that board, you see the value of sharing with your colleagues. When we get together, we all have experiences. Some may have them before the others, that the opportunity to share and learn from provide immeasurable opportunity to, for each community to benefit from. So this is another example of getting together with other communities in the county to share information and share ideas. And the county leadership is here to make sure that we're all getting the same information from the county down, and we're sharing information to them also as far as what we're experiencing in the fields. So that opportunity for collaboration benefits everybody, and it's really enjoyable. And I know I enjoyed my time in being on that board for the Oakland County Clerks Association because I saw the value of it and I know what it brought to people. We would take opportunities to keep our members updated with legislative changes because a lot of times things were changing and people were busy. So that board became an important source of information to share with the colleagues as well. So I think it's with any local opportunity for collegiality, it always benefits people, and it's no different with clerks.
And that brings us to an important point, too, because that information that you're learning from other clerks, those lessons that you're learning from other clerks' offices, can then be employed in our local clerk's office, and especially when it comes to elections, can help make for even smoother processes within the parameters we're already working in here in West Bloomfield and ultimately all throughout the county. So really good information there, and hopefully further success at that training as you continue on with that today. Debbie, closer to home, we're still looking for more people to participate in our elections coming up, particularly in election inspectors, or more formerly known as election workers, which are needed for every single cycle, not just the presidential, but all the elections in between. What is being sought after right now at this time by the township?
So we are always looking to recruit because I don't think people realize for any election, we need between 250 and 400 people for election day to have that election happen. We have 26 precincts and 17 polling locations, as well as a mini absent voter counting board. It takes a lot of people to conduct a smooth election. So we are perpetually seeking additional people to work those elections. We have people who stay for a long period of time. We have over 100 people who've been there at least 10 years and over 20 people who've been there over 20 years. So I always say people don't, leave elections, they retire out of it. They enjoy it and they look forward to it. And then they ultimately decide they want to spend more time or whatever, but they have spent a career doing elections. And when I recruit people, and I've told you this 100 times, Tyler, you're probably sick of hearing it, but when I recruit people, I tell them it's a long day. Everyone complains and everyone comes back. So that tells you that no matter how difficult it is, nor how challenging, nor how long of a day, they do understand the magnitude of that service. They are feel that it's a rewarding opportunity and a rewarding experience, and they sign up to do it again. And we have worked hard to make sure that we've established a leadership pipeline, so we have people ready as some of our chair people retire. But that's why we're perpetually seeking new people, because 250 to 400 people on election day is a lot of work. So we have to make sure we're always filling that pipeline with people eager to get involved and people looking, quite honestly, people looking to understand the election process. And nothing educates as well as working an election and seeing what goes on. When sometimes you hear of the misinformation or disinformation that's out there, the best way to understand it in context is to work election and see for yourself all of the checkpoints and processes in place. So I invite everybody to get involved and come learn. You are trained for, there's training involved so that you're ready for election day and you're working with a team. And most of our chair people have been there for years. So the supports are in place as you begin your election career journey to have guidance and leadership to learn the processes.
Clerk Debbie Binder with us from West Bloomfield Township on today's edition of the Splash Live. Clerk Binder, not just a lot going on in the clerk's office as you get ready for election season coming up, but it's been a busy week. It's been an important week in our local history as well. A lot of fun on Monday as people enjoyed the total solar eclipse, even though it was technically partial here in the greater West Bloomfield area. Here's a picture on our screen on civiccentertv.com that you received from Matthew Orell, who is a West Bloomfield resident that went down to Greene, Ohio to see the eclipse in the path of totality. That's a picture he took of the moon covering the sun during that process. But you had a lot of fun here locally too, West Bloomfield Township and in the clerk's office, getting outside in the middle of the day and enjoying the solar eclipse yourself.
I did, and I will say Matt Orell, he was in Bowling Green, but he is also an election worker. So he did send the pictures to me. It was exciting. I would have gone to Ohio, but my youngest son had a band performance in Ann Arbor for his jazz band at a supper club. So I was too nervous to get stuck in traffic and be late back. So I decided to stay back home in good old West Bloomfield and watch the partial eclipse. I was excited. I mean, it was an exciting experience, a once in a lifetime. I was what you would call probably a little geeked out all morning long. And my office really just wasn't joining me. They just did not understand the level of enthusiasm and thought it was a little crazy until it was close to the time of, the maximum coverage. And then all of a sudden they were all outside enjoying it. And one of them even said to me after, that really was cool. So they understood why I was so excited after. It just was a neat experience to see. And with the glasses that hopefully a lot of people had, I do want to give kudos to the West Bloomfield Township Library for ordering those glasses and making sure that everybody who wanted them had access to them. And to see that exchange or see that experience or that celestial event through those glasses and really understand what was happening was just cool. And now to go on to NASA and watch the replay of it and see from the totality perspective was really cool also. Now, I will say, as I was very geeked out on Eclipse Day, and Tony in my office was in Bowling Green, Ohio, watching it in totality, and said after he saw it in totality, he understands why it's not seeing that is there's nothing like it. So his stories and his photos were likewise as impressive and carried the magnitude of the event. So I know it's a ways off, and I don't know that I'm traveling overseas. Hopefully, I'm here to make a trip for the next eclipse, the next total eclipse.
And we have plenty of our coverage too from across our community. Roosevelt Elementary celebrating the eclipse day earlier on this week as well. We were in the path of totality. Dave Scott, Brooke Allen, and Jason Dean. The Eclipse Show special still replaying on Civic Center TV. You can find that on demand on civiccentertv.com. Clerk Binder, a couple more minutes with you. I want to touch on a couple of individuals that have made a really big impact on our community who are being honored recently. The first of which I want to talk about is Bob Mellon, the Be Like Bob Scholarship through the Optimist Club of West Bloomfield. The applications are currently open for that. Not applications, donations are currently being sought for that at this time, Debbie. And Bob, you've told me about him as in our past conversations and kind of the ways that he impacted our community. What's your memory of Bob Mellon, and why should people participate in cherishing his memory in Greater West Bloomfield?
Oh my goodness, there's so many good things you could say about Bob Mellon. He was a gentleman's gentleman and a leader and a kind soul. He was at Optimist Club all the time, and I'm not a morning person, so I would drag myself in there. And the thing that made you the most happy when you walked in was Bob Mellon's smile and greeting. He was the kind of person who looked you in the eye, and when he asked you how you were doing or what was going on, he really wanted an answer. He genuinely cared. He was a community, leader, a quiet leader. He did it by making sure that everybody felt valued, and that was what I think made Bob so special. Is that anybody who encountered his orbit understood that they provided an important value to their community, and he recognized, like, he valued that interaction. He valued you as a member, and he was willing to get involved and do whatever he could to be a leader in the community. One of the examples I recall was early on when I joined Optimist, and we would do the holiday party for youth in the area. And we had a ton of gifts and a ton of donations. And he donated his house as a wrapping center. And I don't know if I can quite get the magnitude. It wasn't a group of 10 people wrapping gifts. It was probably a group of 80 people wrapping gifts in his basement for hours, and him feeding everybody dinner, and Bob and Margie being the incredible hosts that they were, making sure that the job got done, but that it was a great experience for everyone else who was there and involved too. And I think that's just who Bob was. What is this? Where can I get involved? How can I help? And that's why I think when I first said that, the be like Bob, it was really important, because I think if everybody would be like Bob, we would have a very different society. He was just a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful human being, and a tremendous asset to West Bloomfield, and a tremendous ambassador for West Bloomfield. So I miss him, and I think of him as an amazing person and an amazing leader always.
You can find more information on the Facebook page of the West Bloomfield Optimist Club. That's facebook.com/West Bloomfield Optimist to donate to the Be Like Bob Scholarship fundraiser currently ongoing. Debbie, lastly, we had someone very similar in terms of impact to Bob that we recently lost in our community, Sherry Ann Winter, who was honored at a recent West Bloomfield Township Board meeting. Talk to us about the parallels between Sherry Ann and Bob, and why this is such a huge loss for our community.
I would say one of the biggest commonalities between a Bob and a Sherry Ann is that both of them understood it's not what you say, it's what you do. And they both rolled up their sleeves, got in, and got involved. My first encounter with Sherry Ann was before I met her through anything having to do with clerk. She moved into my condo complex and right away ran for the board and got involved and did what she could to make it a better environment. And that's always what Sherry Ann did. Sherry Ann rolled up her sleeves, got involved in things that many of us didn't even know about. She was one of the original members of the Diversity Task Force in helping create things like Black Expo. And I know she got involved and helped with the Juneteenth group, and the African American Parent Network, and the PTA. I mean, just anywhere that Sherry could get involved and make a difference, she was willing to do it. And I remember talking to her mom at the visitation, and her mom saying how eye-opening it was even for her, how much Sherry Ann got involved in and how important she was to the community. So I think that's another lesson where she's similar to Bob. Sherry Ann didn't do it because she wanted credit. She didn't do it because she wanted recognition. She did it because she wanted to make a difference. And I think that is who Bob was and who Sherry Ann was. And when you looked at everything she did to contribute to the community, it was from her heart and for the good of the community. It was meant to make a difference, not to help Sherry Ann. So both of them, I think, were tremendous ambassadors for West Bloomfield, and made a difference in the community that we all enjoy today. So I will miss Sherry Ann. Sherry Ann was very young to lose. That was a life full of a lot of promise that we lost, seeing what she would do. But I think that in her honor and in her memory, it calls on all of us to make sure that we're listening to it's not what you say, it's what you do. If you want to make a difference, roll up your sleeves, get involved, and make it happen. And that was the lesson of Sherry Ann. Everywhere you turned, she was getting involved, rolling up her sleeves and making a difference. And she had 2 young kids, still found time to get involved like that. So I hope our community will wrap their arms around Sherry Ann's children, who now lost their mother at a young age, to help make that family feel as welcome as Sherry Ann made all of us feel.
It was a touching tribute by the West Bloomfield Township Board and members of the community, including those that worked very closely in a volunteer capacity with Sherry Ann, like Vincent Kirkwood and Kelly Heyer from West Bloomfield Parks. Highly encourage you to watch that footage from the April 1st West Bloomfield Township Board meeting to learn even more about her impact in our community. Debbie, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much, Tyler. You have a great day, and thanks for getting the word out as always.
Appreciate it. More information from the West Bloomfield Township Clerk's Office, including if you're interested in getting involved in our local elections or other volunteer opportunities with the local Clerk's Office, facebook.com/West Bloomfield Clerk's Office. Kevin, always a great idea to get involved in your community in any way possible. And from those lessons we learned from Debbie about her interactions with Bob Mellon and her interactions with Sherry Ann Winter, you can really make a huge impact.
The one thing that stood out that she said about the election inspectors was, the days are long, everyone complains, but everyone comes back. That is a life lesson in general about adulthood, Tyler. Great conversation you had with Clerk Binder.
Yeah, it's a great lesson for adulthood, great lesson for life, and for giving back in the community. It's work. It's always tough, but it's good to come back and help a lot of people. Live, local, social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. That's our show for today. Plenty more coming up all throughout the week. Stay with us on CivicCenterTV.com, on Facebook at Civic Center TV 15, and on YouTube at Civic Center TV. For our entire team, Jake Schaff, Calvin Brown, Kevin McIntosh, I'm Tyler Kieft. Thank you for joining us on The Splash Live.